Shalom, this is no ordinary voice of spiritual ventriloquism. You are listening to the dummy himself. Well, we got our garlic uncovered from this morning. Now, last night it got down to about 28. I wasn't sure if it was going to hit around 25. So what I did was, as you can see, some of that yellowing. That's from colder temperatures when it was a lot smaller, which is fine. But once that garlic starts setting out its fan, I don't know if you can see that fan here. I'm trying to get the shade and get my shadow out of it at the same time. But once it starts setting out a good fan, like we had a week of, the garlic is more susceptible to being stunted for bulb growth. What I did was, what we had a real long period of a week or so of some really dry weather here. And it was very, very warm, and the garlic really shot up, and it took on some pretty good sized stems. I'd say they're better than a half, 3/4 of an inch across right now. Some of them a little larger, like this one right here. This one right here is probably pushing an inch. Anyway, so, and then we had rain and rain and rain for a couple of days, and I mean flooding rain. And this garlic really sucked up a lot of water. And then it turned cold. So my concern was that, if it got, much below 28, 27 degrees, that the stems, I do have it mulched with straw, but my concern was, and not a lot of straw, just enough to try to keep the weeds beat down a little bit. My concern was that, because they had sucked up so much water, if the temperature got too low, that we might experience some of it didn't even get uncovered. Here we go. Anyway, my concern was that it might freeze. The stems might get really damaged, and the fans. Mostly the stems with the water. So that's what I did. I covered up, all of it with pretty much Remay. I had a sprig or two sticking out. But anyway, finished getting this uncovered. I use Remay because it's light. You can weigh it down around the outside. It doesn't put a lot of downward pressure on the plant. Some of them get bent a little bit, but they'll be all right. Now here's cabbage, and I've dealt with this, and I still haven't taken a Remay. That's rhubarb over there that I got all the leaves strawed in, and I got the Remay on the top because it went to seed, put off flower stalks. I was trying to save some seed for the brethren. So anyway, this is some hybrid ball cabbage. I know y'all open pollinated cult probably don't like hybrids, but oh well. This is a hybrid ball cabbage that I started from seed. As you can see, I had it covered up last night too with about an inch of straw, inch or two of straw. And what that does, that provides a good insulating blanket against the cold air. It's more the airflow that's the concern, even more than the temperature. This is Chinese cabbage, which probably would have done all right. Usually it's good about down to 25 degrees, but since I was out here, anyway, well, actually, this is a Napa cabbage. It's not Michelin. It's a Napa type cabbage, and it's starting to form its cone right there at the very bottom. And there'll probably be a couple pieces of straw in the cabbage. Just throw it in with a stir fry. It'll be all right. Well, anyway, that got nice and blanketed from against the potential cold, I should say. You never know around here. The weatherman says he's got a 5-degree guarantee, but yet he's giving money away to the schools all the time, every time he's wrong. So anyway, that's what I'm doing here now, is I'm kind of uncovering there's some cauliflower over there, Brussels sprouts. I got some Brussels sprouts right here on the end of this cabbage I need to get undone. So I'm pulling the Remay off so that they can catch the sun. They don't miss their sun, because those days are few and far between anymore. in this grand solar minimum that we are experiencing. I didn't bother with the onions because I figured they would probably do okay as long as it didn't get down to like 21, 22 degrees. Matter of fact, these are some Egyptian walking onions, and they're just loving this cool weather, I guess. Here's some standard white onion. My wife in her planted a celery bottom. She's gonna try to make, I guess, celery leaves or something out of it. But anyway, this is just a little garden I got here, and there's another one out there. Right there, I'm building a little hoop house. I built it out of 1-inch PVC. I'm going to coat the PVC with PVC tape so that it doesn't make contact directly with the cover, and then that will keep it, because I know PVC exudes some type of a chemical or gas that doesn't react well with the polyplastic that goes over it. So anyway, so I got some cauliflower over here, just a few heads, and some more onions over there, down there. Can't really see them, they're too small. And then some Brussels sprouts as well. This is a row of red potatoes that hasn't come up yet. I planted them, I don't know, a few weeks ago. I should be getting some probably within a week, as long as the weather's warm. After all that rain, I'm sure that I'm going to be getting something popping up here toward the end of the week. But anyway, I'm building this hoop house because one, I really think down the road we're going to need more production space under plastic. This is not a big one. I originally slated it for 40 foot. I took it down to about 29 or 30 feet because I'm going to use this as a hotter house. Now, the nice thing about these little hoop houses, and like I said, I'm building out of 1-inch PVC, and I'm going to, frame the bottom with some. It's all going to be framed in. I'll build doors onto it anyway. All that stuff where I can get in and out with the tiller and whatnot. And the thing about the hoop house is you're going to need this. I like the high tunnel in a warmer, fall and a warmer spring, because they get up to like 140 degrees. But for a winter growing application, this is going to be what you need in the future, because this ain't but maybe a foot over my head. I think the top might be at 7 feet at the center. Right now, like I said, I'm just growing garlic in here right now. So it'll heat up better. It'll retain heat better at night. And I may build some beds with some covers for winter growing too. But mainly what I'm interested in putting in here in the fall is carrots carrots and some Chinese cabbage. That's what I want for fall and winter growing. Maybe a few onions for greens and scallions. This right here is a volunteer bed of garlic seed. As I said on my last garlic video, that you need to save your seed, prepare a bed that's loose enough where the seed will sprout and grow. This year we're not concerned really too much how big it gets. Now, it's going to choke some of the smaller ones out. As you can see, there's some that's a little bigger than others. Those are going to be the ones that you're probably going to really fool with for seed. So, if I get 1,000 plants out of this, or 2,000 plants out of this 20-foot bed, I'll be happy. Comfrey, it kind of wilted in the cold weather, but it looks like it's bounced right back up. This is comfrey for herbal applications. I was kind of concerned because the flower buds were forming on it, and it took a little bit of a hit, but it looked like it really weathered the cold well. May have been overreacting. Maybe it didn't really get that cold last night. Well, I got to get up to the other bed, but that's just something you can do. That's called Remay. It's not really expensive. It's very light for a frost cover for frost-sensitive plants, or light freeze cover. So anyway, I'm gonna go uncover this rhubarb here just a second, and I'll let you see that. Of course, the flower heads, I don't know whether they're any good at this point because I done covered them up so much that they might be trying to revolt and bend over now. I don't know. We're going to find out. This is Victoria variety of rhubarb. There's the flower heads and leaves. As you can see, these plants are actually about, oh, they're pushing. They're better than 3 foot tall at the flower heads already. There we go. So yeah, the flower heads are bent over, but maybe the seed will set on it or not. I'm not sure. Don't matter. It'll do what it's gonna do. Just one thing about gardening and farming, have a backup plan. Because you never know how it's gonna always turn out. But straw is your best friend if you can get it. It's getting more expensive. If you can find it in the field, it's a whole lot cheaper. Usually half, not even half the cost of what they're charging at like Tractor Supply, Southern States, places like that. Those are things that you need to think about down the road. Straw is a good mulch to help keep weeds beat down, and it also acts as a soil retainer or a moisture retainer in the soil. So yeah, I like to use straw. I use a lot of it. And then when you're done with it, you can always just till it in and improve the soil even more so. Well, don't forget to add manure with it though. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to go get this other bed and we're going to call it a day. Shalom.